teach you about dollars while making you laugh. When it comes to money, don't be slackers. Listen to Galia and Susan, Susan and Galia. Galia and Susan, they're the Fiscal Firecrackers. Yeah. Take it, ladies.
Shazam! Pow!
Woo!
How you doing?
Oh my God, I'm amazing. I am doing so good.
Well, besides that song, what is your favorite song? I haven't asked you that before.
No, but I'm a Fleetwood Mac groupie, especially Stevie Nicks. Like anything they play, anything she plays, just put that out there. Oh, I mean, that's like a layup. That's the easy one.
Okay. You like deep cuts?
Edge of 17.
Oh, yeah.
How about you?
Well, Prince, The Beatles, Delta Dawn by Tanya Tucker, Johnny Cash. I'm from Nashville, so I could go on and on and on.
On that note, everybody, I'm Susan Yeagley.
And I'm Galia Gishan.
And we are the Fiscal Firecrackers. And this is the show where we have a complete blast while learning to make our money last. We will educate, entertain, and empower you with your money. And I'm so excited about the topic of today's show.
Today, I am so excited. This episode today has whet my appetite in so many ways. We are going to talk about vacations, specifically taking a vacation, planning a vacation without breaking the bank. How to plan for them, how to pay for them, all while you're saving money, doing what you want to do, but not going broke doing it. And I am a consummate vacation planner, and I'm a consummate vacation taker, as Susan knows. But let me tell you, I learned new things while I was planning this, like a lot of new things. So I'm so excited to actually, and I'm already going to try a new thing, believe it or not. I'll tell you about that at the end of the episode. But we're going to talk about so many fun ways to go see the world, go see your country, go take time off, and not spend a lot of money doing it.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. I remember growing up, I wanted these things. Have you heard of a shoe called a Sebago? It's kind of a...
Yes.
It's a brown leather tasseled Docksider shoe. I would say very gender neutral. Anyway, there's this girl in middle school, high school named Trisha, and she was all the S's, you know, smart, sophisticated, sexy, sweet, everything. She got pulled away from middle school to go model in New York for 2 weeks. And then a couple weeks later, we saw her in our local newspaper modeling a sweater twin set. And I thought Trisha was awesome. And she was so cool. She had these Sebago shoes on. So I worked all summer long, babysat, earned $50, bought a pair of Sebago shoes. And then my dad said, let's go on vacation. Let's drive to Florida. So we're going from Nashville to St. Petersburg Beach, Florida. It takes 2 days drive. We stop at a hotel. And my dad's favorite kind of hotel was the kind that had a flashing sign to advertise that it had color TV. It had a swimming pool, but Band-Aids were floating in the swimming pool.
Oh, wow. You're really selling it.
No hotel lobby. The guy at the front was smoking cigarettes and watching reruns of Bonanza, right? And there was actually a place to park your tractor. And my dad would love these places because they were cheap, right? Super cheap. So I remember we checked into the pool, and that night a woman was swimming down at the end of the pool, and she reaches down. She had a mom skirt bathing suit, and I'm not knocking those. I got some of those too. She reaches down and pulls out of her mom skirt a wet Kotex maxi pad and slaps it on the side of the pool.
Oh my God.
But I was a kid. I was like, I'm going to swim anyway. Who cares? There's Band-Aids, there's gauze. God. Everybody's gross. There's a rodent in there. somebody pulls their baseball cap off and takes the rodent out with the upside down baseball cap. So I'm in the pool.
Oh my God, Susan, I'm getting sick here.
No. And I put my Docksiders on the side of the pool. I come out and they're gone. Someone stole them. And I had worked all summer to earn that $50. And my dad looked at me and he said, well, I bet next time you won't buy such expensive shoes. And I said, no, Dad, next time I'm going to stay at a much nicer hotel and tuck my shoes under a freaking towel.
Okay, I think you just told me about the world's worst vacation. Hopefully we can come up with something better than that.
I've got more, Galia. I've got more.
Okay, well, why don't we stop now and share a really great financial tip. So for those of you that want to plan a vacation and do not want to stay in a hotel like that, where your kids' shoes get stolen or your shoes get stolen, or you're swimming in the pool with maxi pads and Band-Aids, we've got some tips for you. So I have used these 2 tips. Susan knows that because when I saw her in person, I literally said I stayed in the best hotel at really cheap and I found it. So here's some of my apps that I would download right away. They're not going to cost you a lot, but they're great apps for finding really good deals on hotels, flights, and car rentals. And those are the 3 things. Yes. So the first, which I love, is an app called Hotel Tonight. And what it is, so it doesn't cost you anything. The only thing is with this app, with Hotel Tonight, is that they don't really have a cancellation policy. So if you think that you're some chance you're not going to stay at the hotel, don't book it. But what it is, it's the rooms that the hotel isn't selling. So the idea is that you can either plan it, like I live about an hour outside of New York City. So sometimes I need to go to New York City last minute and I need a hotel room and I'll literally book it an hour before I check in. And I've stayed in a gorgeous suite in the most beautiful hotel for like $100 a night because I booked it at 5:00, checking in at 6:00. So it's called Hotel Tonight, and you can actually book a week or 2 ahead of time. And it is absolutely fantastic. And by the way, I was using it during December break, and my daughter came down with COVID, and they were great. Hotel Tonight was great, and they gave me a credit. So I'm a big fan of this company. Big fan of, and I've gotten so many great, remember I told you about the hotel I stayed on the beach in Santa Monica for really, really cheap.
That's incredible.
Hotel Tonight.
Hotel Tonight. All
Hotel
right. It sounds like a Kenny Rogers song, but I like it. We got tonight. Who needs tomorrow? Hotel Tonight, babe.
I won't sing for you.
You're trying to be Sheena Easton. I hear you. Okay.
The second app that I love is Turo, Turo. This is a great app for booking cars. So my biggest complaint about rental cars, I have 2 complaints about rental cars. Number 1 is you don't know what you're going to get. You pay by price, you lock in a rate, and then you show up and you have no idea what you're going to get. And that bothers me. I don't like paying for things that I don't know what I'm going to get. And then number 2, usually I'm traveling with my kids or not as little, or I'm in a rush to get where I'm going, and you got to get on the bus and go to the car rental lot. And it adds time, it adds money. The costs are extra. So when I found Turo, I've used it now for about a year and I love it. So you can filter, you can get any car that's offered, and it's essentially Airbnb. It is so great. So you can filter. So I will have them actually meet me at the airport gate. Or I will take a taxi I was doing it when I went to go visit my mom, and I took a taxi to her house and then I had them meet me at her house.
Holy balls. This is a romantic comedy movie in the making. Can you imagine you're renting somebody's car and they show up at LAX and their car's pristine and it smells like good decisions, their car, and they pull up and they're like, here's my keys for a week. And your eyes lock and you realize you're going to go off in that car forever down Sunset Boulevard. Ooh.
And I've had so many great experiences. I have so many great stories. Like I met a college kid who was trying to earn extra money using his parents' car. I met this wonderful physician who was just trying to make money to pay off his student loans. And by the way, I tried out a Tesla because I thought, okay, do I want this? Do I want an electric car? It was a great deal, which was even better because Teslas are not cheap.
How much is Turo? Yeah, how much is this?
It depends. Like you can pay $30 and you can pay $150. It's a supply and demand. It's whatever so if I've seen super cheap cars there, and I've also seen very expensive cars. It's your budget, but you know what you're getting.
Wow.
So it's a great app. And the third app, which I'm a real big fan of. So obviously I love Orbitz. I love some of my airline apps, but lately I found this new app called Hopper, Hopper.
Like Dennis?
Yes, exactly like Dennis. That's not where my mind would have gone, but you are the actor.
I can't not go there. Hopper. I could go on. Go ahead. Okay. We're going to Hopper now.
So what I like about Hopper, so for example, I'm planning my summer vacation now, and flights are really expensive because of the price of gas and just what's going on in the world right now. And so Hopper says, hold on a sec. Don't book that flight now. We'll tell you when to book it. will tell you when the opportune time is.
That's really nice of Hopper.
I know. So they're using obviously analytics and statistics. And I got a little nervous because I thought, well, no, I want to lock in a rate. And then I Googled and did a lot of research on it, and it really does work. So what it does is it sends you an alert when it's time, when the flight goes down and it's time to book it.
This is genius. This is like having a really great aunt who's following everything, who's retired and sitting on her porch and telling you the goings-ons, right? Mrs. Kravitz.
I'm going to give you 2 more deals that I love. One is I love, and I know I've mentioned this person before. It is a person, but now it's become a large company. It's a website called The Points Guy. And so what they do is they actually focus a little bit more on the credit cards, but it's all related to travel and airlines. And I used to get the newsletter. I don't. Sounds great to me, but I don't do that. But the idea is that they will help you find the deals at every category that you're at. And I always find something really interesting there. And then the last, which is if you're a budget traveler, and I've been using them for 30 years, and I still use them, is the Lonely Planet. I love
The Lonely Planet?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds like a really sad children's book.
No, it's so
Lonely
beautiful.
Planet. Okay, what is that?
First of all, oh my gosh, I can't believe you don't know The Lonely Planet, Susan. So when I was finishing grad school, I backpacked around the world for a year. And The Lonely Planet were the books that you bought the book on Thailand or India or Southeast Asia. And they were like the real backpacker's guide to finding those amazing places. And now they're in a website, obviously, with the digital age. And so they have so many great deals about places to stay. You could go, really low end with hostels or pensions, or higher end, or the out of the place food places to go to, or the, local cafeterias that are delicious. They have so much great local knowledge. And it's obviously geared towards more budgety backpacker, but I used it a few months ago and it was amazing.
You spent a year backpacking around the world.
Okay, it wasn't a year, it was 8 months.
That's a long time.
I know.
Because the extent of my backpacking-ness is going from my house to school and back. That's as long as I've ever had a backpack on. You know that we put in our marriage vows that we're not allowed to camp? We actually put that in there. We got married in Italy and it was all in Italian, but I made sure we had that inserted in, that you can't suddenly spring camping and backpacking on the other spouse and say, oh, I'm so into this, you have to do it too. No, you can't do that.
So here's a few other tips. So this is not necessarily the budget person in me, but what I want you to think about vacation, there's 2 ways that I want you to think about budgeting for a vacation. So number 1, we'd also talked about how much money should we set aside. So if you think about, well, how much do I spend on a weekly basis when I'm not on vacation? So just how much do I spend on groceries or eating out or other expenses? So you could just say, if I spend $200 a week on that, that's going to be my money for the vacation. So almost like just take the money that you would spend for your normal living and spend that on vacation. And so you're giving yourself, so you're not necessarily spending that much extra.
And why is it then we vacation and we buy something? It's so extra sparkly and delicious when you buy something. I mean, if I just buy dental floss in France, I'll bring it home and go, oh, guys, this is dental floss. It's from Europe. It just seems like it's so cool. Whatever, if I buy a t-shirt overseas or a dumb sweatshirt, whatever I buy, it's better than something I bought 5 minutes from my house. So I always have to allow a little bit of extra pocket money for a necklace, for some postcards, for a local hat, right?
Absolutely. So I knew you were going to say that. And by the way, my big luxurious buy on vacations, I love going to like the foreign drugstores and buying their lotions and creams that probably is like nothing special, but I think it's the packaging or that it's in a different language. That's like my luxurious splurge. So I would say that number 2, because you are going to spend more, there's no question about it. And I think partially why you spend more is you have the time. Like, I don't necessarily have the time to go shopping because I'm working when I'm at home. So this is where once a year, twice a year, where you're doing your budget, already start thinking about how can I put some money aside for vacation? Like, don't let this be an afterthought. And I would even take it a step further and say, set up a separate savings account for it. And I do that. I call it my save to spend account. So I literally have $25 or $50 a month going into a separate savings account. And it's not just vacation. It might be like a new piece of furniture or, my daughter has a special birthday. So I have permission to empty out that account. But I would say the majority of it is for my vacations. And so every month I put a little bit aside for that. So then I don't feel guilty about taking it out and spending it on my vacation. So while you're thinking about your vacation, you also want to make sure that you're protected.
Okay.
And that's really important in the type of credit card that you're using, and even if you should buy insurance. And I have to admit, for me, the jury's out about travel insurance because I have bought it and it has not come through. And I have bought it and it has come through.
It just is, it's what's going to make you feel better. I tend to always buy it.
But then have you ever had to use it?
Oh, I got a story for you. So you talked about credit cards, right? And how important it is. So because of you, basically you saved my ass, Galia. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
In a few weeks, we had planned to go to Europe to do something called a tulips and windmills cruise. I was super psyched about this. It's in the Netherlands. You embark in Amsterdam and it's 10 days up and down, seeing the tulip fields and the windmills because it's just gorgeous this time of year in the springtime, right? Okay. We booked this cruise. It was a fancy schmancy cruise for the three of us, Gable, Kevin, myself. It was $19,000. Okay. So all planning to go, got the cameras ready, got my blouse on that has tulips on it. So when we take a picture, I match the back. I'm all psyched.
Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing.
It does sound amazing, but here we go. I get an email and it says, the cruise has been canceled. Just that. The cruise has been canceled. I go, what? Next thing I know, I'm Googling about the cruise company, which will go unnamed, the name of the cruise company. I'm not going to tell you, but I Googled them and they're bankrupt. I have spent $19,000 prepaid to go to Amsterdam to hop on this beautiful boat, sip champagne, and take photos of tulips and windmills with my family that I've been waiting to do this for so long.
You saved a lot of money. A lot of time and money.
Yeah, but here we go. I can't reach. I call the guy who works at the cruise line, my contact, and it goes ding, ding, ding. The number you reached has been out of service. So I can't reach anybody. I know they're bankrupt. So what do? I remember what Galia told me is put stuff on American Express. I call American Express. I'm sweating through my clothes. All right. Luckily, this guy, Joshua, picks up. And I said, I've got a disputed charge. I booked this. You can look on my records. I booked this cruise and now the place is bankrupt and I can't reach anybody on the phone. It goes, do. The number you reach is out of service. What do I do? And just like that cool older brother on the play yard, when someone's bothering you, who bullies you, he was like the badass. He goes, you know what? I'll take care of this. Actually, right now, I'm crediting you $19,000 back into your account. We will take care of it. There's nothing left you need to do. Oh, how sweet is that when someone says to you, there's nothing left you need to do.
Oh my God. Susan, that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
I wanted to French kiss him. And so did Kevin. I wanted to go through the phone and hug Joshua from American Express for being so kind. So I didn't have to worry. I didn't have to call the cruise line. I didn't have to blah, 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 blah. It's all done.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Joshua.
I checked my American Express. And all that money is back in my account.
It's amazing. I know American Express is an amazing company and I have used them for travel over and over. And I use them for travel for two reasons. Number one, for the protection, which is amazing. And I had that too. I had a trip that was supposed to happen right when COVID started and they wouldn't give me my money back. And I don't want to mention it because it is a big company that I think is good. But at the end of the day, they wouldn't give me my money back. And boom, American Express gave us our money back right away to the penny. Because we couldn't travel because of COVID. So they are amazing. They are amazing. And the other thing that I like about them is that when I'm traveling, I use their travel service all the time. So I don't have like a big fancy card necessarily, but they have American Express travel. And what I find is that if you're using their card and collecting points, you can pay for a flight with points and dollars. So if you don't have enough points saved, you can use both. So it's really saving you money on so many areas and you don't pay a commission. I mean, I've just found that at American Express travel, they protect you and they help you save money. So I really, really am happy with them.
Yeah. So no tulips and windmills for this lady.
And if you are going international, here's a few things to think about. The first is check your credit card doesn't charge you foreign transaction fees. So I know there's a lot of credit cards out there that don't do it. And in fact, one of my credit cards, which is the Chase Sapphire, they do not charge any fees if you're going international. So that's something to check because that can really be an extra fee or an extra expense. So check with your credit card. And then the second thing is if you want to travel international and you don't have a lot of money saved, think about some other countries where the US dollar goes a little bit farther. So for example, I have a really, really good friend who just came back from Guatemala, and she had the best trip and spent so much less money than if she had gone to the Caribbean or had gone to like a fancier place. You know, there's places in Mexico or Nicaragua. So these are some places where the US dollar goes further and you can get an amazing vacation for a lot less money.
That sounds fantastic.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
that. And also a heads up, when you're doing your passport photo, which we just did, our families, don't wear a tube top. I did. I wore a tube top dress with sparkly on it because I thought, well, I'm 50. I'm just going to show that I'm fun and I'm free and let's take this photo. Well, they cropped the dang photo and I got it back. And apparently I look like a nudist according to the US government. It cropped me. I look naked in my passport photo.
Susan, you make me laugh. You make me laugh. You bring such an amazing sense of humor. Like, first of all, who would wear a tube top? Like I would.
Me.
I know. I love that about you. Absolutely love that about you.
It was all sparkles, like a rainbow sparkle. And then it ends with a kicky little skirt, black skirt. I thought that'll be fun to pull my hair back. Very kind of cool Dionne Warwick look, you know. Like, I just want to glam it up because I'm going overseas to this Tulips and Windmills cruise. And then it comes back and I really do look like naked and afraid.
Okay. On that note, here's a few more places for you to save money. First of all, I love that you wore a tube top to take your passport picture.
Oh, it'll be on the website. I'm putting that thing up.
Yes. I cannot wait to see it. I'm going to have the meme of Susan, do not wear a tube top to take your passport picture. So the other place that you can save money, but still have some amazing experiences is on food. Because food can, especially if you are eating out a lot when you're traveling, or you want to treat yourself and go to some fancy restaurants. So one of the things that I look for is that if you are going to look for hotels or book hotels, is I look for hotels that have free breakfast.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And I found that when I went to Mexico, I saved a lot of money, and I've found that in the US as well. So that's something that I look for. The second thing is I prioritize my meals on vacation. So I'm a budget gal. So recently when we went on vacation, we actually packed a lot of lunch snacks. I went to Trader Joe's and bought a lot of lunch snacks, put them in my suitcase. So we ended up eating one meal out a day that was a really nice meal where we did treat ourselves because we didn't eat out lunch.
Right. See, I don't really want to sit down for a 4-hour lunch when I'm traveling because I want to see stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's what we found too. We were hiking or we were in the car or we were doing things and we thought this isn't important to us to go out for nice lunches. But at the end of the day, I wanted a nice dinner. I wanted a glass of wine and I wanted to go to special places. But since I hadn't eaten out lunch, it made sense. I wasn't breaking the bank. I have one more food tip that I haven't tried, but I'm going to try, which is you can eat with locals. So you can go to a place and it's like Airbnb experiences, or there's another app that we're going to have on our website where local families will host you for a meal. And I love that because I think what a great way to actually meet some local people in a city or in a country that you're not used to, and also enjoy some different foods. So that's something I'm going to try.
Between courses, you can go in their bathroom and steal their face cream. I know you. Sticky fingers, Gashawn right there. Sticky fingers.
I'm definitely going to look at their face cream. Will I steal it? I don't know yet.
That's really interesting. Okay. What are 3 places, you can give me 2, you would like to go that you haven't been to yet? And I'll tell you mine.
I'm dying to go to Buenos Aires in Argentina. I've heard it's the Paris of South America.
Oh, okay. So that's number 1?
That's number 1. And I have never been to Seattle.
Okay. I think those are 2 doable options.
Yes. I have obviously a much, much longer list, but those are 2 places that I would love to go to. And then I would just go back to Paris over and over and over and over.
Yeah, every month, right?
Mm-hmm. How about you? What are your places that you would like to go visit?
I had read that there's something you can get where you can stay the night. I don't know if it's an auction item or something you win. You can stay the night in the Louvre. And I would love to do that. And you can bid on this and watch, and I don't know the specifics, but you can watch the Mona Lisa being cleaned. And I would love that. Wow. Once a year, the docents roll it out and they take it to a special art preserve. And I'm sure there's a name for someone who does this. It's fancy. And you can watch as it's taken care of in a tender and vibrant and electric. I would love that. Number 2, it's a little dark, but I would love to stay the night in the Hollywood Hotel where Janis Joplin died. I'd like to play Bobby McGee and lay on that bed and just feel her in that room. I think that would be cool. Okay.
That made me a little sad. I got a little sad.
Okay. Well, let me take it out with this. My 3rd thing is I want to hold a baby kangaroo.
Oh,
I do. I want to I've been to Australia before, but that was when our son was 14 months old and he was projectile vomiting. So it wasn't it was a tough week.
It doesn't sound very relaxing.
It wasn't relaxing. Mm-hmm. So I would love to hold I don't want to say koala bear as well, because it's called a koala. My husband corrected me. They're marsupials. They're not bears. So I would hold a baby koala, and a kangaroo would be really yummy and fun to do. So those are the 3 things on my list.
I want to do all those things too.
We need to wrap up because we have a letter. Do you have anything more you want to say about vacations?
I mean, I could go on. I'll tell you one thing you shouldn't do. I'm not a fan of timeshare. It doesn't make sense financially. So it might make sense otherwise, but it never makes sense financially. Buying the timeshare. If you already have it, make the best of it. But if you're going to buy it, really stop and think about it. It really doesn't make sense. So I'll leave you with that.
What about home shares where you go, hey, I've got a home in Atlanta. I'll swap my hotel with you. You live in Peru.
Well, but that's like a home swap. That's different. I'm talking about like something that you spend, $5,000 or a lot of money up front, and then you're tied to 2 weeks in Orlando. So something like that sort of company. Those tend to not make sense financially. And on the flip side, what I see, because I have a very, very good friend who has one, she's never able to get anything other than those 2 weeks in Orlando. And guess what? She doesn't want to go to Orlando anymore. It was great when her kids were little, but now she doesn't want to. So they don't always serve the need. You don't grow with it, but she hasn't. She paid for it. And she's trying to swap and change it, and it's too difficult. So she doesn't end up using it, and she's losing money on it.
Okay, great tip. Do not get a timeshare.
I'm not a fan of them.
Unless it's in the Louvre. Boom. Shazam. Let's go on to a letter.
Want more pecuniary pleasure? Let's read a letter.
Hey there, fiscal firecrackers. I love the FIRE philosophy. And I'll let you explain that, Galia, what that is. What do you do when your spouse or partner has a different level of comfort with financial risk and financial burden, and FIRE, F-I-R-E, is not a priority? Thanks, Carrie Careful Pants.
Such a good question, because I think most of us in couple relationships don't always agree on money. Money can be a huge, huge source of fighting. So,
it's the number one reason why people. It's the number one reason why people go through the big D. Don't mean Dallas.
It is. So, FIRE means financial independence, retire early, and I love it. And we're learning more and more about it. And we've talked about it in other podcasts. But it is a little bit, I don't want to say extreme, but I would say it's a very, very assertive way to save money. And I love the philosophy of it, that you really, really do a lot so you don't necessarily have to work your whole life and you can retire early. So if you have one partner who wants to do it and the other doesn't, you can really hit some conflict. So first, listen to the other side. Really listen to why the other person wants to do it or the other person doesn't want to do it. And I would ask them, what are they afraid of? So if the person who doesn't want to do it, it means they probably don't want to save as much and maybe they don't want to give something up right now. Or if the person wants to do it because maybe they really want to stop working early because they hate what they do. So understand, what is that feeling behind either I'm saying no, or I don't want to do it, or I do want to do it.
Okay.
Compromise, compromise, compromise. So if this person wants to save 50% and you want to save 8%, save 25% in the middle.
It would just be hard if someone asked me to reuse tinfoil that I boiled fish in, or cooked fish in. I don't want to have to reuse tinfoil. I don't want to have to, there's certain things. I don't want to have to use socks that have holes in them. I don't want to have to use my Topo Chico bottles as candle holders. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree 100%, Susan. But if you could choose something that you would give up on or stop, you choose then. So the idea is that don't have your partner say, Susan, you must do that, or vice versa. You tell your partner you cannot do that. But you say, you know what, I'm going to make a commitment and do something differently. So have your partner, and I literally wrote that on my list here, have the partner pick one thing that is important for them to either spend on or save on. And then lastly, and I've used this tip a little bit, I actually work with 2 couples this week, and I really felt like I, should have become a therapist. And I kept saying, I have an MBA, not an MSW, because it really wasn't about the money. But I had them do this. And by the way, they both have emailed me since, is I had them give up Amazon for a month.
Oh, say no.
I know.
How dare you?
I'm not saying, I'd said find those purchases elsewhere. Actually get in the car and drive, or find another online vendor.
Okay. I could give up Amazon Prime for maybe 3 days. I could give it up.
All right. So in this case, you don't have to do it, but find something else. But they both said that they were going to do it.
Wow.
Okay, let's go over all the tips that we talked about today. They're going to be on our website, fiscalfirecrackers.com.
Open your ears and a money market account. It's time for Galia's Dollars and Cents.
So first is really think outside the box with all your travel reservations. There's so many great apps. Turo, Hotel Tonight, Hopper, Lonely Planet, The Points Guy. They're all going to be on our website. I'm sure there's so many, so let us know if you have one that we've not mentioned. And the second is really think about budgeting for your vacation 2 ways. One is just what am I spending on a weekly basis here, and let me just do that on vacation. So I don't necessarily spend extra, but I'm just really focused on keeping that amount. Or second, plan. Set up a savings account and say, you know what, I'm really going to plan for my summer vacation and put a little bit of money aside every month. And that's what I do. And it really works because then I know that, wow, I've saved $1,000. I've saved $500. I've saved $200. Okay, I have that money and I don't feel guilty. It's not taking away from my retirement account and it's not taking away from my savings. When you're going to travel international, if that's important to you, think outside the box also. Go to some countries where maybe the US dollar goes a little bit farther.
And wear a collared shirt in your passport photos, please.
I couldn't have said that better myself. Make sure you're protected, Amex or insurance if that works for you. And also look at your credit card to save on transaction fees. And then food can be a great way to save money also. Look for hotels with free breakfast. Obviously, if you want to rent an apartment or rent a house, you can save on meals. Or if you're going to eat out, just say, you know what, I'm just going to eat out once a day and go big or go home. And then, the last tip is check out the app where you can eat with a local family. It is cheaper, by the way, and then you also get a really unique experience. And I am going to try that one.
I love it. And then you can steal their eye cream. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And if 4% of your body got tingly all over, please subscribe, download, and tell 3 friends about our podcast. And hey, if you write a review, we wouldn't hate that. Oh, God.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, The Fiscal Firecrackers. While this podcast contains information about finances and investments, financial results discussed herein are not necessarily typical and are not a guarantee of future success. The creators of this podcast make no warranty, guarantee, or representation as to the accuracy or sufficiency of the information featured in this podcast. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. The podcast should not be considered professional advice and is not a substitute for a financial planner or investment banker. Please seek professional guidance and do your own research before investing. Did you fast forward through that? Be honest. Yeah.